I'm in Oslo, Norway. My AI training rigs are in a basement in New York City. But right now, I'm going to turn them on, connect to them, and show you exactly what that looks like. All from a different continent, all on consumer hardware, and all for free. When I moved to Oslo in February this year, I left behind 3 computers in New York City. A 2013 Alienware Aurora R4, a 2007 Dell Dimension E520, and a 2020 Mac Mini. So those are my AI rigs, but I wasn't about to stop using them just because I was on a different continent. The question was, how do you reliably control machines you can't physically touch from thousands of miles away without paying for cloud compute or a remote desktop subscription? And the answer for me turned out to be simpler than I expected. It was recommended to me by a friend who codes, and it's called Tailscale. Tailscale creates a private mesh network between all your devices, wherever they are in the world. Each machine gets its own Tailscale IP address, and from that point on, they behave as if they're on the same local network, even though one's in Oslo and one's in New York, say. The setup took minutes, and I didn't need to configure any port forwarding, set up any traditional VPN server, or even pay anything. I just installed Tailscale on each machine, logged in, and they found each other. What I appreciate most about it is the security. The connection is encrypted, private, and not routed through any third-party server. My machines talk directly to each other. And that really matters to me because the whole point of this setup is to own my own compute and data. And Tailscale fits that philosophy perfectly. The first time I connected to my machines from Oslo was one of my first days after moving here. It was around March 2nd, I believe. And I'll be honest, I was half anxious and half excited because I didn't know if it would actually work. But the first machine wasn't really the Aurora or the Mac Mini that I was able to reach. It was actually the Dimension, the oldest, the least powerful of the 3, and the one who had surgery on its motherboard. The Aurora and the Mac Mini were having issues working up remotely, but the Dimension, it just worked. It ran on its scheduled wake and suspend cycle, and it pulled less than 100 watts at idle, and yeah, it was just ready to work, receive commands from me. And yeah, I was generally happy that the oldest machine in the setup was the one that showed up first. It really spoke to what this whole project is about. That old technology can be made to work, modern day programs and all that. Once Tailscale connects to one of the machines, I have 2 ways of accessing them. SSH, or Secure Shell, lets me send commands directly to a machine through the terminal. It's fast, lightweight, and doesn't require seeing the desktop. I use it when I know exactly what I need to do and just need to execute it. NoMachine, on the other hand, is different. It gives me a full visual access to the remote desktop, and I could see and use the machines as if I'm sitting right in front of them. That's my preference for anything involving setup, troubleshooting, or running a training session when I want to monitor what's happening in real time. Together, they cover everything. SSH for precision, and NoMachine for visibility. Getting the Aurora to wake up remotely was the hardest part of the setup. Wake-on-LAN, or WOL, is a feature that lets you power on a machine by sending it a signal over the network. In theory, that sounds simple, but in practice it required help from people in New York. My family members became part of the operation. One of them had to go into the Aurora's BIOS to check and enable the right settings. Another had to physically connect the Mac Mini to Ethernet so it could relay the Wake-on-LAN signal to the Aurora. And more than once, someone had to power cycle a machine that had become unresponsive. I want to be honest about that. This isn't a one-person operation. And I actually think that it's worth saying because it mirrors how real infrastructure works. Even at tech companies, you have people in different locations keeping things running. My operation just happens to be run by a family spread across 2 continents. What the Dimension can't do is respond to Wake-on-LAN commands because it's just simply too old to support it. So it runs on a fixed wake and suspend cycle that I programmed with Claude. It wakes up when I need it and suspends when I don't. It's not perfect, it works though, but for a future project I'm thinking of wiring a Raspberry Pi that could short the power button to enable the Dimension whenever I need it. So again, that's when I'm back in NYC. Here's something I want to be honest about. My workflow for building AI on these machines is deeply collaborative. Between me and Claude, the AI, I come with an idea. We figure out the approach together, I test it, it fails, we iterate. Eventually something works. I'm not a professional coder, I'm not a hardware engineer, and I don't think that should stop anyone from doing what I'm doing. What I bring is curiosity, persistence, and a clear sense of what I want to build. What I'm working toward is something bigger, a distributed system where all my machines work together. Different models loaded on different hardware, an orchestrator on the Aurora deciding which machine handles which task, specialized, responsive, efficient. I'm calling it the Hive for now. It doesn't exist yet, but it will, and you'll see every step of it being built on this channel. If you're watching this and thinking it sounds really complicated, I want you to hear this. You already own capable hardware. You're not priced out, and you don't need the latest and greatest. The first step is the only one that's really hard. The journey follows from there, and the journey itself is worth something. So, with that said, subscribe, join Field Notes, the newsletter. The links are in the description, and I'll see you on the next one.